Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. If you hang around this business long enough and you toss out enough opinions, eventually you're going to get it right. Last week I said I expected Mike Chernoff to interview for the head of baseball operations with the New York Mets. It's a natural. They were just bought by the richest man in baseball, Steve Cohen. Chernoff has done a terrific job with a small budget as general manager of the Indians. He's from New York, and his father is the head of CBS Radio Sports. It's a perfect resume for a team that's going to try to challenge the Yankees for headlines in the big city. Someone asked me what the whole thing would mean for Francisco Lindor if Chernoff moved. Well, that's easy. Nothing. But it's not going to help the Indians very much. We've got the D-man, the other D-man, Daryl Ruiter. He's here tonight. More Sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine. Tonight, the D-man, Daryl Ruiter, is here. Daryl, we had the D-man, Dennis Maniloff, last night, and we're just wondering, we're trying to set the record for the most D-mans in a row. Do you have any you want to submit?
I don't. I'm going to have to think about that. I'll get back to you.
Cleveland Magazine once had a contest, the most 99 most interesting people in Cleveland. So a friend of mine, whose name was Les also, he and I decided to come up with the 99 most interesting people named Les in the city, and we were the only two we could come up with.
I was voted among the 99 least interesting people in the city of Cleveland. So.
Well, you may be least interesting, but you're one of the more busy of those out there covering the Browns this year. And we were just talking about it before the show started, that there's always something going on with the Browns, usually something bad. Now that everything is pretty good, not much excitement going on out there. Everything seems to be normal, as if we know what normal is out there.
Yeah, I was going to say the Browns actually might be the most normal thing about 2020, and it's not normal because they're winning. They usually lose, but there's not a lot of drama. It's all business out there. You don't hear a lot of whispers of negative things going on behind the scenes. Everyone seems to be focused on what they're trying to accomplish, and that's ending the longest playoff drought in the National Football League. And at 6-3, they're legitimately in the thick of it, and we're not doing mental gymnastics about them winning every game from here on out and the other 30 teams that have to lose so that they can get in. So
magic number to me is 10. Is that about what it is for you? They need to get that number 10 win?
Yeah, but I am worried, even with that seventh team less getting added to the playoffs. I'm a little concerned that 10 might not do it, but I do have some confidence when I look at the remainder of the schedule. I think that there's going to be some separation here in the coming weeks because a couple of these teams that are currently 6-3, they still got to play each other, including the Browns. The Titans and the Ravens are still on the Browns schedule. So from my point of view, even though as we speak right now, the Browns would be on the outside looking in, I still feel like the Cleveland Browns control their own destiny.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at realleslavine@gmail.com. Daryl, before we continue to talk about the Browns, I don't know if you heard the opening comment, the voice of truth and reason, where I mentioned that Mike Chernoff is going to have an interview, as I predicted or suggested last week. He's going to have an interview with the Mets, and it's such a natural. I don't see how that could break down.
Yeah, and so when he leaves, I'm going to blame you because you're the one that suggested it, and they're listening to you.
Oh, yeah.
And you're right. It is the perfect fit. And if you can have success in a small market like Cleveland, where you legitimately have limitations upon what you're able to do with your roster, your margin for error in Cleveland is basically slim to none. You cannot afford to pay significant dollars to a player and have that player either underperform or get injured. Whereas in New York and dealing with the budget that he'll be able to deal with there in the Big Apple, that'll be okay. It does seem like a match made in heaven, and the Indians will probably have to search internally for their next general manager like they've done the previous 5-6 times, dating all the way back to 1987 when Hank Peters came to town Fun fact:
This one,
every
yeah, but this
Cleveland
one,
Indians GM since, yeah.
yeah, this one wouldn't be a surprise though. So if they've been prepared before, they're easily prepared now. For those who don't know Mike Chernoff at all, you'll like him after I tell you this story. I don't know if you know it, Daryl. I'm not sure how old he is. He's probably, what would you guess, 37, 38, maybe?
Yeah, I would guess he's a tad younger than I.
Okay, so and his father, of course, is with CBS Radio in New York,
Right.
and Mike is living here. Every month since he graduated college, they get together somewhere, whether it's their home in New York, here in Cleveland, some other designated place, and they break out the old baseball gloves from the trunk and they start throwing the old apple around.
Yeah,
At
good for
least once a
them.
month. That's a pretty cool story.
Well, that's the one thing you're allowed to do in 2020. You are appropriately socially distanced to do so, right?
Yeah, you got to be 60 feet 6 inches away before you throw the ball. What do you think? And somebody asked me, well, more than one person asked me, well, what does that mean to Francisco Lindor? I said, nothing. This is about Lindor and the Mets or anybody else. It's not about who the general manager would be.
Yeah, and Francisco Lindor is not going to be here next year. I'm fairly convinced of that. The Indians have no choice but to trade him this offseason and try and get at least two, maybe three pieces with which they can rebuild this team around going forward, so that they can kind of maintain this competitive balance that we've seen under Terry Francona and Chris Antonetti's leadership dating back to 2013. You're talking 8 straight winning seasons, less, I believe, 5 playoff appearances. And of course, in 2016, they won the American League pennant and got all the way to Game 7 of the World Series. So it's going to be difficult to kind of retool this thing on the fly. I think at some point you have to take a step back and reset. But, I still can't believe that, for much of my life, the Indians didn't have a single Cy Young winner. And since 2007, the organization has banged out 5 of them.
Stack them up.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty impressive. So if you have pitching, you can win.
You can go
But
along.
yeah,
Well, if you have starting pitching, I think the way that works.
Right.
The postseason is a different ballgame, but if you can get enough wins from your starters in the real part of the season, I think you have a chance.
Yeah, but we saw a lot of bullpen games during the postseason this year, which really surprised
Yeah,
me.
well, I think
Where the managers were very reluctant to let those starters go too deep into games. But you get to the 4th, 5th, 6th innings, those starters were getting yanked. And I'm not talking your 3rd, 4th, 5th guy down the rotation. I'm talking your number ones were getting pulled from games.
Snell,
That was
Snell with
yeah,
Snell with Tampa Bay is one.
absolutely.
I think they were all making stuff up as they went. I don't think there was any analytics that told them what to do with the top pitching staffs going up against teams maybe batting for the 3rd time in the game. I don't think they had enough information on that, and I think they were just winging it.
Yeah, well, I think they took a page from Terry Francona's managerial book during the 2016 postseason. Remember, we were talking about just how well Francona was managing
Sure.
and using that bullpen as a weapon. Of course, he certainly had the arms to do it, led by Andrew Miller on the back end there. But yeah, I mean, it seems like they were trying to replicate what Terry Francona did in 2016, and you're right, not as much information about the opposition this year because, well, a lot fewer games were played this summer.
I'm watching the Tampa Bay game, and I said, well, the Indians didn't play these guys. I've heard of 3 of them, I think.
Who is this guy?
Who is this guy, and when did they get him? Oh, got him from the Indians. Oh, I get it. And let me just jump back to the.
Let me just off then.
Let me just jump back a little bit on. Well, I said Chernoff, but let's add Terry Francona. Are you surprised that, based on the health situation and the situation with the franchise, and it looks like Chicago's getting better and maybe Minnesota's getting better, are you surprised Terry's going to give it another run?
A little bit, just from a health standpoint. I mean, my view is Terry Francona can manage the Cleveland Indians until Terry Francona decides he no longer can or wants to. That's just my point of view. So I look at it as a positive, considering all the health problems he had this year, which were very unfortunate. Certainly, I admired him long before this year, but understanding what he went through just to try and manage this year, you have the ultimate respect for him. But yeah, I think he should manage as long as he can is able or willing to do so. But at some point, that baton is probably going to have to get passed here in the in
Well,
in the coming
hopefully it won't
years.
be for a while. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Daryl Ruiter, 92.3 The Fan, is with us. When we come back, we'll talk basketball, believe it or not. We haven't talked basketball in 8 years, but we'll talk a little bit about that. Then we'll get to the Browns and more. If you'd like to line up a call, you can do that right now at 216-575-0403. We also can be followed on Facebook, facebook.com/more sports and less Levine. New content is posted every day. We post it in the morning, you answer it all day long, and then we read it on the show from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We are powered by cleveland.com. More sports and less Levine continues in a moment with Daryl Ruiter.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Maurice, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
Tri-C is here for you. Now more than ever, you need a post-secondary education. So I encourage you to start your journey here at Tri-C. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, Tri-C is where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Birthdays for today: Roy Campanella, great catcher in the 50s for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Bob Boone, the middle of a grandfather, father, and son who played in the major leagues. Royal Payne, 1947. Ryan Howard, Alex Mack, former Brown, and Joey Gallo, all born on this date in sports history. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Daryl Ruiter is here. Daryl, have you even thought about basketball in the last, I don't know, 6 months?
I honestly have not.
Okay, let's both fake it for the next minute and a half. All right?
Sounds good.
The Cavs made their choice with the 5th pick last night. Isaac Okoro, 19 years old, averaging almost 13 points a game, 51% of his field goals in his only season at Auburn. He made the All-SEC second team, All-Freshman team, All-Defensive team in 2020. One of his biggest strengths is defense. You don't usually hear that about a fifth man taken. And he only shot 29% of three-pointers last year and only 67% as a free throw shooter. Daryl, I'm concerned when they pick a guy with the first pick who cannot outshoot me at the foul line.
Well, he also, though, might be the only guy on the team that can play defense. So the Cavs will have that going for them because that was a little bit of a problem last year, if I remember correctly. I got to be honest with you. I've kind of lost a little interest in the NBA just because of, some of the player movement. The league is really centering around building these super teams. And even if these draft picks do pan out, right? Colin Sexton, Okoro, a couple of these other young guys that have been brought into this organization, by the time they develop and get good, it'll be time for them to become free agents. And I'm just worried they're going to go off and form a super team somewhere, because that's just what the league has become. And that's what's unfortunate for the Cavaliers and Bickerstaff and Altman as they try and put this thing together. They're still in developmental mode.
Yeah, and in a case where you're trying to build a team on the floor and in the community and all that, and then you have the weekend information that came out, that's something that you just can't have.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm a little wary of building these teams through the draft, because that's not a turnkey type of operation where you can win right away. Now, obviously, you're hoping that the culture you build is going to compel these young guys to want to continue to play together. But the reality is they all have social media brands, and they form friends within the league and those type of things. And my thing for the Cavs is, can they win 21 and 21, right? Because that to me is the next step for them organizationally, is to start winning basketball games on a more regular basis. And that's what was disappointing about the shutdown when it occurred. They seem to start getting it together.
You don't really know the direction they're going when you still have Kevin Love around, and you have Tristan Thompson, and then you have all the kids who virtually
Andre
play the
Drummond they brought in, which was
but they have several guys virtually playing the same position, so that's not good either. And you think
a lot of guards.
Yeah,
this kid can play without the ball. So again, I think it's certainly a fit, and also fills a little bit of a need, because he's a guy that doesn't have to have the basketball in their hands, because let's be honest about it, they got a couple of guys like having that rock in their hand.
All right, let's go turn back to football here. Give me the rundown. We had 3 guys named with the COVID problem, but that's all taken care of, right?
Yeah. Chris Hubbard, who was placed on reserve COVID-19 last Friday, he's likely going to remain there. But the 3 guys yesterday, Charlie Hewlett, Jack Conklin, and Cody Parkey. Hewlett came back today and practiced. This was a situation last where the protocols that the league has in place mandated that they be put on reserve COVID. There's the wide assumption out there that if you end up on the list that you have tested positive. That is not always the case. I refer you back to the bye week. Remember, Baker Mayfield had to go on reserve COVID for about 5 days, and that was because he came in close contact with somebody who did test positive for the virus. So that is done as a precaution, and it is my understanding that's what happened with these 3 guys. That's why Hewlett's back today. That's why they expect Conklin as well as Parkey to be cleared on Saturday, making them available to play Sunday against the Philadelphia.
Mary Kay Cabot was here the other night, and she said that based on the schedule, that she expected the Browns to be ahead of Baltimore after the next 2 games. How do you see yourself in that mix?
Yeah, well, they certainly, if they've got to leapfrog the Ravens in the standings. Right now, Baltimore is just becoming besieged with injuries. Let me find a tissue. Feel sorry for them. But that's just, that's the reality of their situation. And then, of course, the Ravens are once again on the schedule. The Browns have that circled, especially after that 38-6 shellacking they took in week 1. So, I think that there's a high probability that the Browns will be able to leapfrog the Ravens. And again, just kind of seeing how this AFC playoff picture is going, unless it would behoove them to get in front of the Ravens. That's why, we've got 7 games to play, and you talk about must-win football in mid-November. That might sound a little overly dramatic. I think in the Browns' case, it's not, especially, I realize the Eagles are in first place, but they got 3 wins, for crying out loud. What are they, 3-5-1 or 3-6-1, something like that?
Right.
you got to win this game Sunday.
Well, we should also put some pressure on Pittsburgh that they should definitely rest Ben Roethlisberger the last 3-4 games.
Yeah, I think that I think we can just go ahead and hand the AFC North trophy to the Steelers.
Yeah.
The division has been decided. But on the other hand, the Browns have not been eliminated from the playoffs, and we're in mid-November, so that's great news.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Daryl Ruiter, who covers the Browns and everything else for 92.3 The Fan. Northeast Factory Direct is the place to go if you want to save money and get great stuff at big name products at in many cases, half the price. West 140th Street in Cleveland, Lakeland Boulevard in Euclid, and Freeway Drive. That is in Macedonia, or of course, northeastfactorydirect.com. We'll take a break. We'll come on back. If you'd like to talk to Daryl, give us a call. More Sports and Less Levine is powered by cleveland.com.
Transform your home for the holidays with an authentic Nature Stone garage floor. No more tripping on cracked, uneven concrete. Stop slipping on puddles and standing water. It's the safer, more beautiful garage floor that's easy to clean and never needs replaced. That's why it's backed by Russell's Promise. For a limited time, get more Nature Stone than ever before with up to half your garage floor free. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com to qualify for your free flooring. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Two 216-575-0403. This date in history, November 19th, 2018. Not that long ago, the Los Angeles Rams defeat the Kansas City Chiefs 54-51, making it the highest scoring game in Monday Night Football history. It's the only NFL game where both teams scored at least 50 points. How about that? 216-575-0403 is the number. Daryl Ruiter is here, 92.3 The Fan. Let's go to Erie, Pennsylvania. We'll say hi to Jack. Jack, go ahead. You're on with Daryl.
Hey guys, how are you? And Daryl, before I get into my question, I do have to ask, and I'm sure people have asked before, do you live in a home shop? Like, are you in that's an incredible amount of framed items. My goodness.
No, this is the home office. We are in the Zoom era, the video conferencing era. So I figured that this would look a lot better than me sitting on a couch somewhere. So.
Well, if you frame them yourself, I give you kudos because I can barely tie a knot. But my question to you guys is this. Going into this, because I'm in Erie, which is obviously over Philadelphia, but I watch a lot of Eagle games, and they're going to blitz, and they're going to come from the edges, I think, to not permit Baker Mayfield to roll out in the pocket like he did to Cincinnati in that first game. My question is this. Do you think that he can step up in the pocket? And I'm wondering about Peoples-Jones in particular, because he's the one guy that has the size and the talent to maybe be a big play guy, just on a fly route to extend the defense so they can't put 8 guys in the box like I'm worried they might. Do you think he could play a big role in this game?
Well, I think Donovan Peoples-Jones fans need to somewhat temper the expectations. There's some development there that needs to continue. I hear you about not wanting to have opponents view you as predictable offensively and stack the box. The good news for the Browns, they have 2 running backs that just really don't care and will just run through people. So, I think that Kevin Stefanski does a nice job of mixing things up offensively. Let's also give Jarvis Landry some credit here. He has been tremendous both in the pass game as well as the run game. He has a fantastic resume. I think that, yes, they do miss Odell Beckham Jr. You're not replacing that type of talent, but I'm not too worried about them becoming too predictable. I'm more worried about Mother Nature disrupting what they're trying to do on offense. But again, they got two running backs that really make that a moot point as well.
Daryl, during training camp, or what little there was of it, one of the coaches, I think two of them, might have been the offensive coordinator and the head coach, who said they want to win games different ways. And it suggested to me that they're trying to go 16-0 with 16 different ways to do it. And I say, no, if you're that good, student body right or whatever it is, if you're that good, just go ahead and do it. And I think they're starting to do that now. Maybe they were trying to find themselves and didn't know who they were, but I think maybe they found the secret to it now.
But what's nice with this combination of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and we saw this when Chubb was out, you lost the 1-2 combo, and now you have those fresh legs. So you have one guy in to pound the defense, he goes out and rests. The other guy comes in and beats up the defense. Then by the time you get to the fourth quarter, Baker Mayfield talked about it this week. Nick Chubb talked about it this week. A couple other players. They notice that they're just bludgeoning defenses, and by the time you get to the fourth quarter, it's wearing opponents out.
That's textbook. What else, Jack?
Well, no, to Daryl's point about Mother Nature, and you just said you're worried about Mother Nature. I think it behooves the Browns for those bad days, and people point to the Raider game. I think that was a fluke, and I believe that if the tight end, and now my mind's blanking in that first quarter, that was the Browns' best drive of the game. If he doesn't fumble there, and then you had the 5 drops, they looked like they were going into score. They go up 7-0 after a Raider missed field goal. That totally changes the complexion of the game.
But you don't want you don't want Mother Nature to act up like she had been in those 2 games. So, and people say, well, it's Cleveland, they should be used to it. No, nobody's used to that kind of stuff.
I agree with that, Les. But my point is, I think that if for example, if last week, if it was a beautiful day, 60 with no wind, I think that it could have been a different result given how the Browns secondary, other than Ward, combined with a great quarterback. And I think that despite the fact that the Eagles quarterback has been great this year, that has struggled this year, I think he could be great. My point is, I think that the Browns, the way they're designed, is better if it's windy and raining and the other team's quarterback can't play. I think the Browns are better in that situation. I wonder if you agree.
Well, before we agree or disagree with that, let me just throw this out to both of you. What are the Browns? What do you think the key is to beating the Eagles on Sunday? Daryl, you go ahead first.
Well, I think it's again this ball control style offense that we see. What was most impressive about that win over Houston was the Browns got the ball with just under 5 minutes left. Ball at their own 3 because Donovan Peoples-Jones muffed the kickoff return. The Texans didn't see the football again. And the Browns didn't throw it a single time. They just ran it right down their throat 6 times with Kareem Hunt. And then, of course, we know what Nick Chubb did on that final carry. That's the formula for the Cleveland Browns. And then also, too, Philadelphia comes in. They're one of the best at getting after the passer. I think they're in the top 3, something like that. They've got a ton of sacks this year. So got to keep Baker Mayfield clean. That short, quick passing game, having Baker Mayfield sitting in the pocket, counting to 7 Mississippi before throwing the football, that's not a winning formula in my opinion.
Jack, how about you?
I think they need to force a turnover. I mean, now that a lot of that's happenstance, a lot of that's luck. You strip the ball, it bounces one way or the other. You drop an interception like they did in that Cincinnati game. But I think that the defense isn't good enough to, and even this Eagles team that's been struggling, Carson Wentz has struggled, but they need to win the turnover battle, I should say. If they can win the turnover battle, and that's kind of obvious, if they can win the turnover battle, I think they win the football game.
Agree or disagree, D?
Yeah, I mean, the Browns have been great with, creating those turnovers. They've created 14 of them this season. However, they didn't create any Sunday, and they found a way to win. And I don't like defenses that only rely on turnovers to get off the field. And what I like about this defense in these last couple of games, aside from the fact they've given up 23 points combined, guys, is the fact that they're starting to get off the field more consistently on 3rd down.
Right.
And if they continue to do that, good things are going to happen for them.
Jack, enjoy the game this weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. guys. I'll talk to you. Go Browns.
You got it. All right, Smiley One. Right now, they can make it very easy to invest in a new heating or cooling comfort system without breaking up their budget. For a limited time only, take advantage of the special financing, 36 months on select Bryant high-efficiency equipment. They make it easy for you and your family to stay comfortable all year long. Call Smiley One. You see the number right there for further details. More Sports and Less Levine continues, 25th year in a row, and we are powered by cleveland.com.
We're living in uncertain times, but you don't have to put your future on hold. At Tri-C, you can move ahead while staying safe and saving money. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, check out Tri-C's programs and resources, because Tri-C is where futures begin.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Browns Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week. And it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
The Browns have the best 1-2 running punch in the entire NFL with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Make no mistake, as Hunt and Chubb go, so goes the Browns' offense. Individually, both are very good. Together, they've been great.
They're both unique in their own way. They find ways to get it done. Nick has that powerful ability that's coupled with home run speed, which is very rare. And then Kareem's ability to break tackles and his elusiveness, whether in the open or really in a crowd, is quite impressive.
And those two styles complement each other very well. Stefanski has given the two about equal carries per game, and it takes its toll on opposing defenses in the second half. With Chubb healthy again, Hunt will also be a bigger threat in the passing game. Chubb has the big play ability to break a long run virtually at any time.
I don't think Chubb has ever spoken the huddle one time, since I've been here. It's just the same face, the same guy. I think maybe he smiles for a couple minutes after we win a game, and then he's back to the same serious guy, working and preparing for the next week. And Kareem's a little bit more vocal out there. He's not afraid to dish it with the defensive players and let people know. And he'll try and hype up the O-line. Like, he is a vocal guy. He's probably one of the most vocal guys once we get in the huddle. Kareem is, and Chubb is literally the opposite. So it's fire and ice out there, those two.
Either way, defenses have to pick their poison. Do you want to get burnt, or do you want a severe case of frostbite? The Browns will go as far as Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt can carry them, and through 9 games, it's been a fun ride.
You know what I was thinking? Daryl Ruiter is with us. I wasn't thinking that. I knew that already. But watching Stefanski in action there, and the media portion of his life here as coach of the Cleveland Browns, I'm sure when he came here or decided to come here, he must have been told of how tough it is with the media and the front office and all that stuff. He's avoided all that stuff by getting off to the start that he's had, even with the loss against Baltimore and all that. Even with that loss, the way it's set up now, not that COVID is a good thing, which is absurd to think, but from his standpoint, it's kept the people at bay a little bit. Not the fans, but where there was a chance, maybe where there might have been some criticism. The only criticism I can find is when he forgot how far that Cincinnati could throw the football into to the end zone. I don't think he hasn't got caught on any mistakes anyway.
Yeah, we haven't had any egregious coaching blunders from him as of yet, and I think that he's done a real nice job this year dealing with everything that he's had to deal with. He had to install a new offense, a new defense, teach his quarterback new footwork, all through a computer screen basically this year, or through video conferencing, and then that's obviously difficult to do when you're changing coaching staff in person during mini camps and OTAs and things like that. So I think that Kevin Stefanski's done a real great job in that regard. The singular focus mentality. He's really not allowed past history here to come into play. I wrote about this earlier this week, Les. These are not your same bumbling, stumbling, fumbling Cleveland Browns that just embarrass themselves in new ways each and every week. I mean, this is a team that is clearly prepared to take the field every Sunday. There's a clear identity, a clear strategy. The players have bought in. In fact, the team has kind of taken on his personality.
Yeah, I think it has.
We talked about it earlier, the grumbling and the bickering behind the scenes that we always hear about during Brown seasons. That's not occurred. And again, it helps that the team is 6-3 and performing well. But what has struck me the most this year, Les, is in spite of all the adversity, this team always finds a way to respond. Whereas in years past, it would go from bad to worse and just snowball on the team, and then it would snowball throughout the organization. And that doesn't happen under Kevin Stefanski.
I think one of the things that's helped him is the fact that he did open himself up early on by waiting so long and then deciding to call his own plays, which most people think is not the way to go. But he's disproved that. If you have the right people.
Andy Reid disproved it,
Right.
I mean, there are coaches throughout the National Football League that do call their own plays, and it's perfectly fine. The reason why we in Cleveland always freak out about it, Les, is because there's just so much chaos that surrounds this team and so much on the head coach's plate. You sit there and understandably say, well, he's got enough to deal with. Does he really need to be dealing with calling his own plays on game day? And again, that chaos and just all these other things that typically pop up haven't popped up.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to pop up. I don't think that this season's going to fall apart like we've seen in years past. I expect this team to make the playoffs. I believe that this team is going to make the playoffs. I think that they're good enough to make the playoffs. So again, these are things that we're getting used to. We're not used to it. We're always waiting for that shoe to drop. And I don't think that that's going to happen.
It's not going to drop.
They give a bad play.
When I see him in action, go ahead.
Yeah, just every time something negative happens, bad score, bad play, bad loss, they respond, and they respond in a positive way. Injuries too, Nick Chubb getting hurt, Odell Beckham Jr. being lost for the season. In years past, Les, it as well as me, those are season derailing injuries.
Yeah.
And that's just not going to happen this year.
No, and I've often wondered, as I follow the course of the season, maybe 3-4 games at a time, you'd think that Stefanski I picture him sitting at home at night saying, I can't believe I'm a first-year head coach and this is the kind of talent they gave me. Because usually first-year head coaches don't get the kind of talent that's sitting here, especially on the offensive line. And the offensive line, they've lost people due to injuries, but they've come back and they've had enough to fill until they had to. Would you pick up any guys off waivers now over the next couple of weeks?
Probably. Well, I mean, you're always scanning the waiver wire if you're Andrew Berry, no question about it. I'd certainly, if I'm looking for somebody, though, it's going to be on the defensive side of the ball because that's where they need the most help. But you're right. The offensive line's fantastic. I'll say Bill Callahan might be the best hire of the offseason. Yeah. I mean, everywhere he goes, those teams run the ball well. His blocking schemes are among the best in the NFL. And his teams always perform, but he is a perfect marriage, not only with the talent, the offensive line that he has to work with, but the two running backs as well, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I mean, it's just it works in harmony. Yeah, I said it last night that he could have probably gone to any one of 10 teams in the offseason, and Cleveland had their choice first. They got into him first, and usually guys say, well, I want to talk about it with my family, I want to talk it over with other teams. He readily accepted it and jumped on board, even though he knew the history of this franchise and the ownership and other things involved. Yeah, and there's nothing you can do to change that. And they're focused on what they're doing today and what they're going to do tomorrow, and that's ultimately what it needs to, where it needs to be. It's fun for us to talk about that they're, all these historic things that they're doing, right? I mean, they're 6-3 for only the second time in the expansion era. It's tied for the best, start, of course, 2014. We all remember that Thursday night game at Cincinnati that, pushed them into first place in the AFC North before the franchise fell off the cliff and into the great abyss. But that, again, these are things that I don't expect to happen. I think that they're going to win games down the stretch. They're going to get into the playoffs. I don't think they're going to win a playoff game or advance just because of the matchups. They'll probably end up playing a team like Kansas City, and you certainly don't expect that they're going to beat the defending Super Bowl champions. But that's invaluable experience for this organization that it has not had, so that in 2021, when we hopefully return to some normalcy, we can have conversations not about, hey, can you maybe get to the playoffs? It's okay, get to the playoffs, win your division. And, what can you do to win games in January? Daryl Ruiter, 92.3 The Fan, is with us. Northeast Factory Direct is with us also. There are the three locations, West 140th Street, Lakeland Boulevard, and Macedonia. It's Freeway Drive, and NortheastFactoryDirect.com. We'll come back in a moment. More Sports and Les Levine is powered by cleveland.com.
Transform your home for the holidays with an authentic Nature Stone basement floor. Add more livable space, inhibit the growth of mold and mildew, and improve air quality for your family. It's the healthier, more beautiful basement floor that's easy to clean and never needs replaced. That's why it's backed by Russell's Promise. For a limited time, get more Nature Stone than ever before with up to half your basement floor free. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com to qualify for your free flooring. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
welcome back to More Sports and Les Levine. Les, Daryl, we talked about it going into the 2020 season. This is a big year for Baker Mayfield. One of the reasons being, after this year, the Browns have to decide whether or not to pick up his fifth-year option. Now, this year, his touchdown to interception ratio is a lot better, but for the first time, at least so far this year, he is passing for under 200 yards a game. Now, Pro Football Focus, however, is saying that Baker Mayfield is earning his option in another way. He said, Mayfield has certainly made this decision more complicated with his lackluster play, but it does seem like he's grown a lot off the field and as a leader, which could be the linchpin to stick with him for a little longer while new general manager Andrew Berry continues to overhaul this roster. So, Les, Daryl, I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think so far? Through 10 games, has Baker Mayfield done enough so far to possibly earn his fifth-year option with the Browns?
Well, first of all, Daryl, I can't believe we've gotten 2/3 through the show and haven't mentioned the name Baker Mayfield, but we just did. I know he's got problems. I know there's some weaknesses, but I don't want to give it up because there's not some guy like him waiting around to be taken by the Cleveland Browns. I think if they have to make the decision, I think the decision right now is yes.
I think it's an easy decision. There's no debate from my standpoint. Yeah, you pick up that fifth-year option. And right now, under this collective bargaining agreement, you have 4 more years of control with Baker Mayfield, this being his 3rd season, next year, obviously, number 4, the year after 5. And, you know, I've said this on my station, Les, and I believe that right now it's unfair to evaluate Baker Mayfield. Yes, it's part and parcel to the full picture. I don't think you're going to get a real good, true, objective evaluation of Baker Mayfield until late December, and then also next year too. Because let's be honest about it. Aside from surrounding him with talent, what have the Cleveland Browns done to make Baker Mayfield grow within a system and become successful within a system? Absolutely nothing. 3 offensive systems, 3 offensive coordinators, and 3 head coaches in 3 years. I need to see what Baker Mayfield looks like in the 2nd year of a system before I determine whether or not he gets that big money contract extension. Picking up the option buys you some time for that evaluation.
And
so
a second year of the option,
no-brainer.
the second year of the option means not only would he be with the same coaching staff, presumably, but the offensive line is something that looks like they could, staying away from bad health, could be together a lot of years.
Well, keep in mind that option would be for the 2022 season.
Right.
Okay. And then 2023 is when a potential contract extension would kick in, or a franchise tag. You could still go the Kirk Cousins route. Baker has a lot to prove. The Browns have a lot to prove, but you know, I'm very reluctant to really hammer him with criticism this year, just because I understand the dynamics and the situation, just everything he's been through. He's not losing them games. He's not costing them possessions with bad decisions overall. And so I think that giving him some time to really grow within the system, and also giving Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry time to legitimately evaluate him next year is the way you need to go.
You think that evaluation is taking place right now, or are they going to wait till it's over?
No, he's being evaluated. Everyone on the team is being evaluated, Les, but I just, you know, we're all itching for that answer, right? Is he the franchise quarterback? And we all have the expectation that because he's a number 1 overall pick, he should be playing at an elite level, putting up Pro Bowl caliber numbers like, you know, you see Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees and all the, you know, Tom Brady, all the great quarterbacks are doing. Well, you know, Baker's had a lot of stuff thrown in his way. Now, granted, he also, too, has committed his fair share of mistakes on the field, but I just really want to see him in the 2nd year of a system so I can get a better handle on his skill set and his ability to be elite. Because we see glimpses of it, but, you know, I just, right now, he's not elite.
I think one of the problems is we are so used to having bad quarterbacking in this city that we jump on when you get some guy who looks like maybe he's the guy, and then you're saying, nah, that it's too good to believe. It's got to be, there's something wrong with that pick, so we got to find somebody else. The good quarterbacks in the league don't get evaluated pass in and pass out, half in, half out, one game, 2 games. It's over the long run, and I think the fans need some adjusting as to how they grade these guys too.
He's 18-20 as the Browns' starting quarterback, and while that's not great by any stretch of the imagination, and that's what I was going to get to, Les. How many years did it used to take the Browns to be able to win 18 games?
Yeah.
It was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years to pile up that volume of wins. So I anticipate that by the end of the year, he will be an above 500 record quarterback for this franchise. And he'll ultimately, have finally a better winning percentage than any of the starting quarterbacks here. Because right now, Brian Hoyer's the leader in the clubhouse, right?
Wow.
If I remember correctly. We're all anxious to answer this question, and I get it, but I'm just trying to keep people realistic and objective, and just take some of the passion and the fandom out of it, and look at it with a clear lens here, because I do think one of the things the Browns have been guilty of is just that schizophrenic decision-making process, where one day it's this and the next day it's that, and part of that has to do with the volatility of the franchise. And again, hopefully Kevin Stefanski's success here will allow them to finally find some stability, along with Andrew Berry. I thought that John Dorsey was going to be able to bring that, and then he went ahead and hired Freddie Kitchens. So.
and you know what? The fans also, and the media, have to be careful too in that what are you really looking for? I've heard people say, well, yeah, they won, but he didn't throw enough passing yardage. Yeah, he won, but he threw an interception. Hey, it's the NFL. Those guys on the other side of the ball are pretty good. I'm not saying this is the best thing that's ever happened to this franchise, but right now, I don't want to turn it around and go another 5 years looking for somebody and not find that answer either.
Well, it's also a complete 180 from I know the Browns lost by 30, but they did this, and this good on Sunday. It's right. I mean, you still lost by 30. So to me, I go back to the end results. It's about wins and losses. That is what your resume is built on. And again, yes, I would like Baker to at some point rise to that elite level, raise and elevate the play around him from his teammates. But, Patrick Mahomes benefits from great catches.
Let me just see if I got this right. Wins are good and losses are bad. Is that pretty much it?
Sources confirm that, in fact, is accurate.
We're going to come back one more time with Daryl Ruiter, 92.3 The Fan. We'll take a break, and we shall come back. We have the voicemail of Truth and Reason. If you can't make it during the show, if you are busy doing something else, but you have a question or a comment, call that special number, the voicemail of Truth and Reason, 200-6650. We'll use the best messages on a future show. And by the way, we do the show live from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll take a break. We'll come back with the D-Man, Daryl Ruiter. More sports and Les Levine continues in a moment.
Transform your home for the holidays with an authentic Nature Stone garage floor. No more tripping on cracked, uneven concrete. Stop slipping on puddles and standing water. It's the safer, more beautiful garage floor that's easy to clean and never needs replaced. That's why it's backed by Russell's Promise. For a limited time, get more Nature Stone than ever before with up to half your garage floor free. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com to qualify for your free flooring. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, Weekend Winners Edition with Dave Bacon. Dan Lobby of cleveland.com will join him on that one. That's Dan on the left, by the way, in case you were wondering. You see us the rest of the time, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's Monday through Thursday. Time for a How Come Quickie from our crack staff. How come there was nobody waiting with a camera when Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon for the first time? Daryl, you have any answer to that?
I don't. I'm anxiously awaiting the reason.
There isn't one. That's which makes it a good How Come Quickie.
Probably because there was no one on the moon. He was the first on the moon.
Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
I think. I don't know. We live in an alternate reality.
That is true. Okay, got about a minute or two just from random thoughts coming from that random brain of Daryl Ruiter.
I don't know. Do we really want to go there?
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Yeah, we do actually.
Yeah, as I said earlier, Les, I believe that the Cleveland Browns are a playoff team, and I'm not used to saying that. I credit Kevin Stefanski. This season is not going to fall apart. I believe that they will win some games down the stretch, even if they don't beat a team with a winning record the rest of the way. And they only beat the losers still remaining on the schedule. And that, of course, would be the Eagles, the Jaguars, the Jets, and the Giants. They win those 4 games, 6 plus 4. That is 10. 10 is the magic number, gets them into the playoffs. This will not be 2007 all over again where they win 10 and we're left crying in January wondering what it's going to take for the Browns to get into the postseason.
They call you on Sunday night if you qualify for the playoffs, and they just say show up at wherever on Thursday night or Friday night or whatever. They don't say, well, you won more games than this team, but you didn't beat any really good teams. Your point?
Yeah, exactly. But it's important, though, I think that Tennessee Titans game, because I still think that they're going to have to be better than the second-place team in the AFC South. So the Browns really want the Titans to win the South and not the Colts, because they already beat the Colts.
Right, they got that head-to-head.
They have that head-to-head tiebreaker. And by the way, Les, I had to refresh myself on the playoff tiebreakers, because every year I know the draft tiebreakers, and I discovered the draft tiebreakers and the playoff tiebreakers are completely 2 different sets of tiebreakers. Head-to-head matters in the playoffs.
All right, very good. Well, continue the great job you're doing following the team on 92.3 The Fan. We'll look forward to those updates, and we thank you for joining us. And you really moved up in the draft board here.
I'm glad I'm off the couldn't find anyone else list.
I didn't say that.
I did.
I know you did. All right, we'll see you soon. Daryl Ruiter from 92.3 The Fan. All right, I'll see you all on, Dave Bacon will see you tomorrow with his Weekend Winners. I'll be back on Monday with Bud Shaw, Mary Kay Cabot. On Tuesday, then it'll be Dennis Maniloff. That'll be on Wednesday. We'll see you then. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.